Alright guys, welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be discussing the culture shocks of Thailand. Thailand is a very nice place if you know where to go. You have Bangkok, the city of Bangkok. You have Pattaya, Thailand, Phuket, Chiang Mai, so many nice places. One of the things that you're going to notice is that in Thailand, the people are incredibly nice. Some of the nicest people I've ever met anywhere. So nice that when I come back to the United States, I often miss people in Thailand. I often miss the culture. I often miss when I go and get a latte. They're over here saying kapung ka, and they're bowing to me in their nice voice. You know, I really love it. So you're going to see that the culture of how people treat you is much different than where you're from, more than likely. Unless you're from like Bali or the Philippines, then you probably deal with that on a regular basis, people being nice. But in America, it's not so common. Culture shock number 2. When you go to Thailand, you may notice that people get pulled over if they look like a foreigner. So what I mean by that is, if you're white or maybe you're black or Mexican, you don't look Thai. They may just pull you over for that reason, basically to get money from you. So they have a culture of bribery in their police force, similar to Mexico, but I honestly think Thailand is actually a little bit worse, believe it or not. I've had a couple of run-ins with the police in Mexico, and only one time did they give us any real issue. Now, let me tell you this. In Thailand, I did get pulled over by the police for riding a moped, and I didn't have an international driver's license. So I basically had to pay, I think I had like 700 baht on me or something, which isn't a lot of money at all. It's just the cash I had in my pocket at the moment. But it's a good thing that I did only have that, because they wanted, I think, 2,000 baht at the time. And 2,000 baht, that's still only like 50, 60 bucks or something like that. But still, you don't want to have to pay 50, 60 bucks for no reason if you don't have to. But they just basically took what I had and let me on my way. And it's funny, they actually let me continue with the moped that I had. So it's obviously not that big of a deal. They basically just want money. So they have a bribery culture in Thailand. It's not technically legal, but it just happens. Even with some of the restaurants and clubs that are owned by foreigners, I heard that they also do that there as well. So if you're planning on opening a business, I would highly suggest that you keep that in mind, because I've heard of people not paying the bribe to the police and the police give them a hard time, do raids and get them shut down and stuff like that. So just keep in mind, if you're going to be riding around in a car or a moped, or if you're going to open a business, they do have a culture of bribery there. So basically you will have to pay some kind of fees. Culture shock number 3. You'll notice when you go to Thailand that a lot of times the clothing there is actually a little bit smaller than where you're from. It might say large, but it really might be a medium. So in reality, you're going to want to wear the clothes before you buy it. Try it before you buy it. So with that being said, that actually happened to me as well. I ended up buying a couple of shirts, and then I go to put them on when I get back, and it's way too small, like not even close to being the right size. And it was supposed to be a large. So just keep in mind when you're purchasing clothing to try it on. Try on the shoes, the shorts, the shirt, everything. So do that when you go to Thailand. Culture shock number 4. You'll notice how cheap Thailand can be compared to where you're from. Even on the more expensive side, if say you stay at a nice part of Bangkok, or even a nice part of any city that you go to, you'll notice that it's much more affordable than where you live, more than likely. So I live in South Florida most of the time that I'm in the United States, and it's actually pretty expensive, at least if you're living closer to the beach. Now, let's say for a 2-bedroom or even a 1-bedroom that was nice and has a view out the window, you might end up paying $3,000 in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. You might end up paying $3,000 for a nice apartment. As in, where in Thailand, if you get a nice apartment, you could end up paying anywhere from $500 to $1,000. So it's much different with everything else as well. So if you get food, you can get meals for only $2 to $5 a piece. If you go to a nice restaurant, it might be $6 to $10 or $12, something like that, at even a nice restaurant, like a steakhouse or something. So it's pretty crazy how cheap the food is compared to where at least I'm from. Again, if you're from some of these other countries like Bali, Philippines, Vietnam, you probably have similar pricing. But if you don't, and you're from America or Europe or somewhere like that, you're going to notice how cheap everything is. Even getting in places and activities and all the other things that you would spend money on, everything is significantly cheaper. So you can get the higher end of society at the lower end of price, at least in your own country. Culture shock number 5. Thailand is built off of respect. If you think about it, when they say kapung ka, that basically just means thank you. They're being kind. But them being kind is different than having respect. So when you go to Thailand, make sure that you have respect for everybody as well. Don't feel entitled just because you come from a more well-off country or you have more money or, they're not speaking English to you. You have to be respectful, because one thing that you don't want is all the Thai people to gang up on you. Thai people stick together very much so. So if you have a problem with one person, even though this Thai person may not be that big, you will have a problem with everyone around. And you better pray that they don't know Muay Thai, because that's obviously where it was created. So that's another culture shock for you, is that the entire country is built off of respect, and people treat you with respect as long as you treat them with respect. Culture shock number 6. If you go out drinking, you'll notice that sometimes they put ice in the beer, like actually in the beer. Not just on the side of the beer, like let's say it's in a cooler or something like that. When you get a cup and they take it from the pitcher or wherever they're getting the beer from, they actually put ice cubes in there. And in my opinion, it waters down the beer. I did not like it. So just keep that in mind. If you do get a draft beer, ask them for no ice, or make sure that they're not putting ice in it if you don't want a watered down beer. For some reason, they seem to like it, but it's definitely not for me. Now, culture shock number 7. You'll notice that Thai people are much more traditional than Western people. Now, Western people, let's say in America, they are of many different cultures, because we're kind of a melting pot in America, as to where Thai people have their own culture that they've had for thousands of years probably. With that being said, you will find that girls and guys are more traditional. So more so the girls, from what I've heard, as far as trying to find a husband and wanting to settle down, they know their role. So I would highly suggest that if you're looking for a wife, I would go to Thailand or even the Philippines. Those would be the 2 places that I would personally look for a wife if I was going to go, because they are more traditional. They'll clean for you, they'll cook for you, they'll take care of you. And obviously, you might want to do it for them once in a while, but overall, the women feel that it's their job to take care of the man and take care of the house, if obviously the man is taking care of it financially. So therefore, if you are looking for that kind of thing, Thailand might be the perfect place for you, because they still have their traditional values. But there is a little caveat. If you're going to a bar looking for a bar girl, or you specifically go to somewhere like Pattaya or Phuket for partying, and you're getting a girl from one of the clubs or the bars, do not expect her to be a traditional girl. I'm not saying that there are no traditional girls in the bars. A lot of these girls have to do it because they can't get a job anywhere else, or they're uneducated, or whatever the reason is. So don't try to look down on them. But just keep in mind that that would not be an ideal place for you to go look for a traditional girlfriend. So don't hit me up saying that you told me she was traditional, but you picked up a bar girl. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Be sure to give me a like, a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are, and let me know what you want to see next.